letter 24 of the Screwtape Letters. So this letter is all about spiritual pride. So you find out that Slim Trimpet is the demon that is in charge of the patient's young woman. One of C.S. Lewis's great strengths is coming up with some awesome demon names. And Slim Trimpet has discovered a small vice in this young woman. And that vice is that she assumes the outsiders who do not share her beliefs are too stupid and ridiculous. It talks about how this is a small pride in her, but that Screwtape is hoping Wormwood can exploit it for his patient. So it's not going to affect her too much, but can affect Wormwood's. And it says that the reason why it's not that big of a deal is because it's the same thought that she would have had if she was 10 and she thought her dad had the best kind of fish knives, right? When we're young, or even just in life, sometimes we think the way that we do things is better than others. And it can be a small thing. It can be not a very large thing, but a small thing we take pride in. And so for her, it's not really causing her to be truly uncharitable or anything else. But Wormwood might be able to use it in his patient. And so here's how he can kind of exploit that. So first of all, Screwtape says all novices, they're the ones who exaggerate, right? So that people who are first entering into something kind of go over the top. And so they're trying to see if they can imitate this venial, this small defect of the young woman, and make it into a more serious sin in the patient. So it's still spiritual pride, but maybe they can make it some kind of bigger pride. Some ways they could do this. The patient could become proud of his new Christian friends for the wrong reasons, right? That his society is more intelligent, more agreeable, and that he has a place in it. So by his own merit, not just because he happens to be dating the young woman who already was friends with them and they're welcoming in as kind of a friend of hers, right? And as he's still a new convert to Christianity, he thinks himself kind of on their same level. It says that the patient is rapidly ceasing to think of himself as unworthy of the others, right? So he still thinks himself unworthy of this woman, but not necessarily of them. So it's kind of making him think that he has a place in this set. They are his own people. He doesn't see that many of his thoughts are colored by his love for the young woman, so that he was so quick to accept them and their talk and their way of life, and think that he's on the same spiritual state as them, not because he is, but because partially of his love for this young woman, and partially because of his desire to be included in them. Right, it says, he's like a dog which should imagine it understood firearms because its hunting instinct and love for its master enable it to enjoy a day's shooting. So he's kind of all in and accepting things that they say, which he maybe wouldn't have accepted if he wasn't dating this young woman or if he met them under a different context. It says, Wormwood is to make him think with pride that these friends are his own set. They're on his level and his sort, and he is coming home to them, and to find other types of society dull. And then to mistake the contrast between the circle that delights and the circle that bores him for the contrast between Christians and unbelievers. So to kind of have this exclusivity and almost like a faction type of thinking. So he wants him to go from we Christians to meaning my set to meaning the people with whom I associate by right. So as we can see, pride would be mixing in here with his understanding of who he is and who his friends are, and then in the larger society. It says success here depends on confusing him. So we've said this before. This is a major theme: is keeping humans from truth, befuddling them, and to keep a sly self-congratulations in his thoughts. So thinking that I deserve to be here, and these are our type of people, and to think that everyone else is outside of Christianity, so kind of she thinks other beliefs are silly, to kind of take everything else that someone else would say outside of his group, an adoptive air of amusement at the thing that unbelievers say. So just another form of kind of manipulating spiritual pride, which was a small defect in the young woman, to make it a large one in the patient.